This is Discover Crypto. Every day on the channel, we teach you how to make money with digital assets. And our top story today is going to be the revisions on the job numbers and the Fed rate cuts. Are they going to happen? And what does this mean for alt season? What does this mean for your altcoins? And what the heck is going on with Bitcoin? We have major news involving a malicious hack. We have news with Ethena. And I'm here with TJ today. TJ, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good in the news space. A little discombobulated because I'm not signed into all the normal stuff. I see people asking if this is the right stream. You are in the right place. It's going to be a great day. Big news coming out. It's time. It's Bitcoin and altcoins time to shine. Center stage in the economy with some wild job revisions and some crazy predictions for even bigger rate cuts. So yeah, I'm here for it.
Yeah, so if you're wondering, is this a stream where I'm going to become fabulously wealthy because I'm just getting the best alpha when it comes to crypto news? You are 100% in the right place, folks. Let's go ahead and take a look at the Bitcoin chart. Bitcoin trying to do a little bit of a dump. These are the 5-minute candles that we're looking at. You can see right around 3 a.m. this morning, Bitcoin is now down about $1,200, trying to find a little bit of a bottom, but also just wicking down to the previous point of resistance. And now the bulls and the bears are going to be battling. But once we zoom out, we're going to see Bitcoin kind of following a pretty consistent trend here, is getting rejected off the top. And so this might be a little bit of an important area to watch. And if we zoom out even further, you're going to see this is just a short flash in the pan. And a lot of people are talking about, new all-time highs imminently with these rate cuts, TJ. We're going to look at the odds for a rate cut in September. The 50 rate cut has changed significantly. What are your thoughts of the market today?
I think we're getting ready to see some money printing. I mean, there's a lot of macro stuff going on that's you could say concerning. I would say I saw a post the other night saying gold's at all-time high, stock market's at all-time high, a doom posting is at all-time high. And it does feel like there's a major shift going on. We had I don't know if you covered it yesterday. One of Putin's top advisors coming out saying the U.S. is just going to devalue their currency and they're going to use crypto to do it. That's more or less true. Devalue the debt more or less is what they're doing. We've got geo positioning going on with military stuff pulling back around the Western hemisphere for us, which that did happen before World War II. So there's a lot of positioning going on right now. And the more I look in, you and I have been talking about the bond markets a lot, the reverse repo markets. Like the system there's very little liquidity in the system right now, and the cracks are showing. So there's only two options: either pump it full of new money, which is generally what they do, or massive fallout. So every time I keep analyzing it, it's like, okay, well, what's the best way to position yourself given all these circumstances? It's always like, well, Bitcoin. And I'm really glad I'm in Bitcoin. I'm in commodities like Bitcoin and gold, real estate, because they tend to hold up very well in times of uncertainty. So it does feel like, though, we're going to be seeing a full port. A lot of people are going to be full porting to Bitcoin. Even these money market funds, $7 trillion likely rolling towards Bitcoin here very soon.
And wait till you see what we look at when gold is priced with inflation. There's a huge, dramatic output there. Now, let's look at the rest of the altcoins. Is there anything escaping the bloodbath? And Solana is doing pretty decently. It is up 0.5%. Dogecoin up 1.7%. And Cardano up 1.5%. And Chainlink with a nice little 1% pump. And Hyperliquid show no signs of slowing down. This thing is going to be $60 more than likely before you know it. Sui also with a little bit of a bump here. And we look MYX Finance still with another major move here, up incredibly over the past 7 days. WorldCoin also with a large pump here, 32% pump. Story is up, meme core. So we're seeing some of these odd tokens with the pumps that you don't normally see move in tandem with Bitcoin, kind of do their own thing. But we do have some other coins pumping, Near, Render, and ARB, all looking pretty good. And Ethena, I got some bull posts for Ethena. But let's look at the losers. And it's going to be Quant and Bitcoin. Bitcoin is dumping, but is Bitcoin Cash. And Polygon erasing basically all of the gains that it's had over the past week. And World Liberty Fi also, had a nice little pop yesterday, is now down 1.4%. But seeing some strong coins here. I mean, ETH is down, Aave is down. We keep scrolling, trying to find another good one. I mean, even BNB is down. What are you seeing that's on sale? Or, are you still waiting for the Fed to make their decision on the 17th?
No, I think it's pretty much locked in. We're going to start to see cuts. The big question now, people are asking, what's the revision now? The odds, and we'll
You got it
get to
right
this
here.
in just a minute. The odds for 50 basis points is going up dramatically. We were talking. There's a trader on Polymarket. If you guys are following on X, I put this out yesterday. That was taking the bet on 50 basis point cut because the odds, the risk reward was pretty good. I don't guarantee, but I would imagine he's already well into the profit on that trade. One of the cool things about Polymarket is you don't have to wait for it to resolve to take profits. So we're going to look at that here in a minute. But no, I'm not surprised at all. I'm not waiting. I'm planning for the rate cut to come. I do believe once we fully get into easing season, Q4, I do think we're going to see a lot of altcoins run. I generally agree with Benjamin Cowan's analysis of the market that we're seeing ETH ran. Now we're seeing some pairs catch up against Ethereum. When rate cuts come again, we'll see a lot of the majors run. But I'm looking at lower cap ones I'm looking at right now, Morpho. I can't stop buying Aerodrome and Chainlink. I keep moving into those, but Morpho is another one I'm thinking about taking a substantial position. It's been getting some good movement lately, and that's one that I expect once we're in Q4 and rate cuts are in full effect, we're going to see some very bullish action on Morpho.
Well, folks, I hope you're ready to call 911 on the revised jobs report. Why? Because 911 is the number. It's actually 911,000 jobs have been taken out of the data. They've revised a negative mark here of almost 1 million jobs for the 12 months. Now, this is going to be 10 months of Biden and 2 months of Donald Trump. This is going to go from March 24 to March 25. The U.S. job market far weaker than initially reported. So the vast bulk of this data reporting is going to fall on the shoulders of the Biden administration. Now, we don't know if the Trump, did they turn that knob a little bit harder, or is this going to be the actual accurate data that we all been waiting for? It is my suspicion that nobody actually knows what the real number, getting it down to the 1,000 here, is probably going to be a lot of estimates for these revisions. Now, the Bureau of Labor and Statistics overstated the jobs by 76,000 jobs per month. They revised 160 out of the initially reported 147. Revisions are becoming larger than the reported number. And Kobayashi just dropping this. And this probably is one of the reasons maybe Donald Trump dropped this post about 1 hour ago. Maybe he saw the data that was going to be coming out at 10 a.m. He posted this about 9:15. If the Fed had followed what we published, they would have raised rates all the way back in early 21. The entire organization is broken, needs to be fixed. They need modern sources of information. TJ, I'm going to pause right there. What is this modern source of information? What are you thinking when you see that?
I mean, I think they're saying economic data on the blockchain. I think that's part of why they're doing it. Yeah. And I think Chainlink makes this type of stuff possible. And I agree, we definitely need a updated system. The Fed isn't a good system, the Federal Reserve, the way they operate. That being said, I don't necessarily trust the U.S. government to do it either. I agree, all of these numbers are fugazi. If this doesn't touch you, you can't trust anything coming out of the government on either side because it's too politically charged. I don't know what will. This is why we're such advocates for self-ownership, self-sovereignty. That's what Bitcoin provides. And somebody asked in the question, it's a good question, is this bullish or bearish, right? And so we're talking about learning that our economy is 1 million jobs light. They've come out and said we had all these jobs. Turns out they were lying. There's 1 million less jobs. That's just in this revision. We've already revised out several others. So multi-millions of jobs in the last couple of years. Traditionally, logically, a person, a regular mind would say, oh, that's bad. Millions of people losing jobs, economy's weak. That's bearish. And in a normal circumstance, that would be true. But however, most people now, the markets are going to be bullish on this news because they're expecting now the Fed to come in and inject a ton of liquidity, cut rates, and save the day, so to speak. So traditional logic says a failing economy, a weakening economy isn't bullish. But people are just so bullish on these markets, they expect, and most likely that's what will happen. And that's why it's, interpreted as bullish. So unemployment going up, somehow bullish. Losing jobs, somehow bullish. It's kind of you kind of have to play in the backwards world with these fugazi markets. So
yeah, what we're actually seeing is a lot of other people, smart money, big money, they're starting to bet on 50 basis points. This is Standard Chartered. They are now expecting the Fed to cut rates by 50 points next week. This is going to be on September 17th. And Polymarket, this is probably what you were referencing earlier. A $2 million in profit trader. This is one of the most prolific traders. He keeps getting it right. He's bet 15K that the Fed will cut 50 basis points this month. Looks like he has roughly about an 8x. So that was probably roughly 12% odds. Now, if we check in on the latest odds here, it is now up to 17% odds. So to TJ's point, he could sell it right now for a slight profit. But if he holds on, there's going to be even a bigger payday.
Yeah, because he took that trade yesterday, probably anticipating a
around
major
here.
revision.
This 10 to 12, probably right around this 11%. He jumped in on the trade, and then you can see it skyrocketed all the way to 19% at one point.
And so he was in the green. And that's my favorite thing about Polymarket is he could take his profits off the table right there if he wanted to. We'd have to go check and see, but either way, he's well into the green, and most likely calls for 50 basis point cuts will get louder over the next week. Wouldn't surprise me to see those odds hit 20%, and then he's well into the green. So
yeah, and you can go to Polymarket, you click on economy, then you click on Fed rates, and you can see all the different bets. And if we just check in on October, I haven't checked this one this morning. Not too much change for the last 6 hours. You can see a little bit of movement there with the jobs data. If we go to the 1 day, looks like no change. It's now down slightly as whereas 25 basis points. But if we zoom out to the week, you definitely see some interesting stuff here. 50 basis points, though, still pretty low odds coming in at 6%. 25, though, now the slightly better edge of a coin toss there. But this is going to lead into altcoins pumping. It's going to lead into Bitcoin pumping. I want to just share some of this on Bitcoin dominance. Bitcoin dominance is going to be the canary in the coal mine when you're talking about how your altcoins are going to perform. Bitcoin dominance is breaking key support, signaling capital rotation towards altcoins and Ethereum. TJ brought it up. Ben Cowan saying ETH potentially slowing down compared to the other altcoins. So we're seeing the other phases of the crypto cycle. Bitcoin pumps, then ETH pumps, then it goes to the large caps. We're in this phase right now. Historic cycles show double bottoms and reaccumulation phase on these altcoin rallies. Talking about Bitcoin dominance here. And we just went over the odds for a rate cut. Now, we're going to go straight to the Bitcoin dominance chart here. Found something kind of interesting, TJ. This is what we drew out the first time we tapped this.
Look at that.
This is going to be the tail end of August. Yeah. Once we zoom out to the weekly, look at that. So we broke out of this parallel range. Soon as we broke out of that range, I was like, all right, keep an eye out on this trend line. That's exactly where it ended up hitting. And if we go zoom in even further, this is the 4 hour. Look how strongly this is holding on as support here. Once Bitcoin dominance falls, I expect, pretty sharp movement to the downside. If it doesn't fail, I would say, maybe it'll bounce back into this parallel channel. So maybe keep an eye out on just those couple of ranges right there. But Bitcoin dominance, as this falls, your altcoins do great.
I don't have it because I'm not signed in, but see if you can find. Raul Powell actually posted a good one. I think it was others, or it's crypto without Bitcoin.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, it's a lot of the total charts are all going to look the same, and we have some later cup and handles to look at there. But if you look, it's others price in ETH, others the total. You're seeing a lot of this. We're coming up to historical precedent where, boom, these assets might balloon into the trillions and the mega trillions. I almost want to say, if we look at what happened in 2021. It added, let's see, this is going to be roughly a 2.2 trillion to the balance sheet. Came in from 0.3 all the way to 2.5.
Well, and that's almost the inverse of
the dominance chart.
Of the dominance, yeah. If you're pulling that up and you're looking at the dominance, then that's kind of as dominance falls, you're going to see the others take off. So. It's more and more signs pointing to silly season coming up here shortly for low caps.
Yeah. We're in the 4-year cycle. We're in the 4th year of the 4-year cycle. And within that 4-year cycle, there's like 1 quarter or 2 quarters. That is the fun time. That is when the music is playing. The balloons are popping. The champagne is pouring. Everybody's having a good time. There's people on swings in the ceiling. We're getting there, folks. We are getting there. TJ, you ever been at some of those parties?
I guess, yeah. I mean, you're talking about
maybe with Carlos.
No, not. They're not really part. I mean, I've been to some clubs like that and stuff in Vegas at the time where there's people up in the things doing whatever, but not what you're talking about.
Oh, not really. Like you have to dress in all white and Jamie Foxx.
No, definitely none of that. Definitely none of that. No.
All right. Well, you brought up Putin, and let's go into Putin here, saying basically everything's a scam. The dollar's a scam. The U.S. debt's a scam, and we're not going to be able to pay it back. And this is coming from his top financial advisor here. Putin
He's not
advisor
wrong,
claims
by the way. He's not wrong. Everything is a scam, and we're not paying this debt back. But
stable coins, hey, it's backed by $1. That's not a scam, but the dollar is the scam. That's kind of what we're saying here. So looking like we're trying to devalue our debt. And he said the U.S. is strategically using crypto and gold to devalue its debt to urgently address the declining trust in the dollar. We're seeing the declining trust in the dollar on these 30-year bonds, on these 20-year notes, or I'm sorry, 5-year notes. And we're seeing it on the short-term treasuries. As the short-term treasuries have lower interest rates than the long-term treasuries, that is people betting on the U.S. might have trouble paying that debt 30 years from today. I would probably agree with that assessment there. Now, as in the 30s and the 70s, the U.S. plans to solve its problems at the world's expense, this time by pushing everybody into the crypto cloud. Now, he doesn't really go into too many specifics here, but looking at the debt now sits at $37.5 trillion. This is a 10-fold increase since 1981. And in the 33 years before 81, it held steady. We only moved it 0.3 trillion, 300 billion. And then if you look at the following 33 years, maybe some change, 37 trillion. So 300 billion to 37 trillion. So the increase is up tenfold. Massive, massive amounts. But if you look at the increase right there in that 33-year period, it's up 100-fold. The debt is up 100-fold from that level. So this is kind of what he's saying when, yeah, it is all the scam. It is all fugazi. And maybe that's why we have the Congress even trying to act on this. Congress now introducing a bill directing the Treasury to create a plan to custody Bitcoin acquired by the federal government, including Bitcoin held in the Strategic Bitcoin Reserve. Is this a sign from Congress and the Treasury? Even they know that the dollar is broken, TJ?
I guess. I don't know. But this is a sign that they know they need to hold Bitcoin. And this was something we've been calling for. This is the beginning. This is what you need for the Bitcoin Strategic Reserve to turn into a reality. So that was pretty huge news, in my opinion, that they're actually taking those steps. To come back to the Putin thing again real quick, they're right that is the plan, is to push all basically use stable coins to increase the demand on the dollar. This is something we've been talking about on this channel for years now. But what they're trying to do is scare people out of crypto because they don't want it to be easy for the US to do that. But it's not a crypto flaw, like you were saying. It's really just a flaw with the dollar. The dollar is the scam, and that's a scam that's been going on since the 70s, as he mentioned, since they got off the gold standard. It's a confidence game, and as long as the dollar is the strongest in town, they can continue to run this. So, yes, I think nation-state game theory is playing out completely, and it is upon us. Every nation is trying to get as much Bitcoin as they can, as fast as they can, and it will become the new basis, the new base reserve currency. This is something many Bitcoiners have talked about for a very long time. And I did see a question come in, by the way, and we can do this. Says, can we go through which altcoins you're going to buy once they cut rates?
Yes.
We will start. We will do that towards the end. We all have a long list. So.
I'm a reference Crypto Faces post, the old and the new. And it's just a good thesis. And I agree with a lot of it, but I also disagree, saying dump your old altcoins for the new altcoins.
Yep.
But we're going to point out a couple of the old ones I can't let go, and I'm recommending you shouldn't let go either. I'm sure you got a couple oldies but goodies, TJ.
Yeah, I mean, like Ethereum,
Nero,
old one. Nero. Oh wow, that brings me back. That's an oldie. Yeah. A couple of those other ones, HBAR seems to be, as far as old ones, HBAR seems to be holding up okay. XLM is probably my favorite old one.
Chat, tell us your favorite old altcoin that you just can't let go and you think it's going to outperform this cycle. We'll probably throw it in the mix. We'll do a little TA. So keep your comments in. Luna, I mean, is probably down a whole lot. So, might be a little something there, folks. All right. And TJ, you look a little frozen to me. I don't know if everybody else is seeing that as well. All right. Let's talk about Bitcoin miners here. He's back. Are you back? Blink if you're alive. Okay, he's alive, folks. Bitcoin miners liquidating Bitcoin. Let's talk about Bitcoin for a bit, then we'll get into those altcoins. I'm seeing Cardano. I'm seeing Mana. Dump your Mana. That's not on the list. Maybe we'll say it's an older coin. I guess it's crypto, a couple years old. But Bitcoin miners liquidating Bitcoin. Two factors driving the sales here. They are puking. They're vomiting up so much Bitcoin at a rate not seen since Bitcoin was trading under $20,000. Let me reiterate that. Miners are selling more Bitcoin than they ever have since Bitcoin was trading below 20. So let's jump into the stats here. We got this post. I'm just going to share the post. They're doing it for typically 2 reasons. A margin squeeze, aka they need cash. Bitcoin's cost to create a mine or to mine Bitcoin is getting kind of high. You got electricity bills, you got to buy some more equipment. Basically, you need money. It's not the case today. Or they're in profit and they're bearish. In all cases, price was higher a month later, but that's not accurate. There is a time, this may not have been entirely accurate there. Maybe you could say, but on the bottom, you're going to see the giant red spikes. We're going to talk about Ethena. We got a whole Ethena thing. We'll get into that. The giant red spikes.
I did get some. I should have bought more, but I did get some.
There you go. The giant red spikes is Bitcoin leaving the miners' balances, the miners' portfolio. They're puking out their Bitcoin at a level not seen since all the way back here when Bitcoin is trading at 20, fell down to 15, 16K. If you look, every single time, they're right. Every time you see this red line, it's basically up and to the right shortly thereafter, if not immediately after. You look here, up and to the right. This is going to be March 2020. You know what happened around then. Up and to the right, up and to the right, up and to the right, up and to the right. We have the one deviation. But TJ, if you zoom in on the date, this is going to be September 2022. There's literally exchanges collapsing in front of our eyes. So we're going to give this one a pass. Up and to the right. TJ, I'm leaning up and to the right again.
Yeah. I think it's, this is the time, again, this is the time we've been calling for since 2022, right? This is the time we've been saying Q4 2025 is when all the money is going to be made. That's when you want to be in altcoins. That's really the prime time. I'm still heavy Bitcoin. I slowly started moving into altcoins a couple weeks ago. I still think there's some opportunity there. But my main plan is accumulating Bitcoin. I do think October, November, December is the fun time. I still believe we're going to see some action in 2026, but a likely early pullback. And there's a lot of major economic factors that could contribute to that. But
I do think Link is going to 100 eventually, but $40 is going to be a very important level. I got to give you the close case. I think Bitcoin's going to $1 million, but I'm just going to put out videos like, hey, it's just going to $1 million, and don't worry about all the price action in the meantime. So we got to talk about that price action before we get to 100. And Chainlinks is going to have some important levels around that $40 range. All right, now let's talk about gold, and then we're going to get into these altcoins. Gold breaking through inflation-adjusted peak from 1980, a level that stood untouched for 45 years. Moves of this magnitude don't happen in quiet times, usually mean the market is sending a signal. Confidence in the existing monetary framework is eroding, and I'm blaming Putin's advisors. We're not going to go into the whole thing, but this is inflation-adjusted spot gold price. And we have now exceeded where we were shortly after Nixon took us off the gold standard. And this is very, very bullish. Not a great time for the economy. And if you look right here, this is right before the, another time of economic turmoil. This is going to be around the 08 crisis. You see, a large shift to the downside. This is all saying buy Bitcoin to me, though.
Yeah, gold is up when there's uncertainty in the market, and Bitcoin is essentially, the new gold. It has a lot of the same properties as gold, just a lot more portability and convertibility. And they're both pretty liquid, but easier to move around actual real Bitcoin versus really most of the time what you're trading with gold is just paper contracts. So,
and gold is broken out, TJ. You saw it. Gold has complete its cup and handle.
Yeah, big time. Yeah, look at that. That is beautiful.
So this is not inflation adjusted. This is just your dollar being eroded.
And there is pretty strong correlation between gold and Bitcoin as well. Many times gold breaks out, Bitcoin follows. Gold breaks out, Bitcoin follows. So I'm still expecting well over 150K Bitcoin this year. I'm still not coming off my 200K number. I agree with what you just said. Bitcoin I've never felt more confident that we will see Bitcoin at $1 million within the next, probably less than 10 years, probably close to 2029. We'll see $1 million Bitcoin near the year 2030, if not much sooner. So to me right now, it's accumulate Bitcoin, sit on it, wait till it goes to $1 million, hang out, play GTA 6 or something.
All right. Silver is now over $40 an ounce. I might have to go to my aunt's house and steal her silverware. That's a good move right there. All right. Bitcoin. All right. Let's talk about these Sammy cup and handy. Shout out to Sam out there, the lifers. Gold is up and has completed its cup and handle. S&P 500 If you also look, this is pretty much, a nice little period, 2022 to about halfway through 2023. Also has completed its cup and handle. Love it. Bitcoin, $300,000 if it were to complete this. I do take this with a little bit of a grain of salt there. It looks like they're using a pretty strong log chart there, whereas here it's, it isn't skewed as much on the axis. And we also have alt cap compared to ETH, the total 3.
There you go. Yeah.
Minus ETH here, also looking very, very bullish. And this is taking us from 1 trillion to almost 5 trillion.
That's extremely reasonable in my opinion. I do think we'll what's the total? It's about 3.8 right now. So yeah, Bitcoin gets to about 5 trillion. Yeah, I think we'll definitely. I 300 does seem a little bullish if you're talking this year, but 200 seems extremely achievable.
Yeah, this might be one worth putting on a regular chart and look at the other ones in their logarithmic forms there. All right, let's also talk about gold. Speaking of gold, Tether, they've came out. They're like, all right, look, everyone's fudding us that we're selling Bitcoin to buy gold. Here's the facts. All right, we have a diversified portfolio. And this little data nugget came out. They have added more Bitcoin than all but 3 of the Bitcoin ETFs in the past year. And so they're like, you're considering us bearish. We're buying more than entire ETFs, which have thousands, millions of investors. We're just one company outpacing all of them, except for 3.
Not to mention they already had way more than all those other people. So yeah, they're don't worry about Tether. Tether's doing just fine. And if they're buying some gold, that's probably very smart business. So now, I'd be more worried about the amount of treasuries they hold, to be honest, but that's the cost of doing business.
That is the cost of doing business. But TJ, you know what those companies or those countries are doing with those treasuries, right? They're dumping them. They're dumping those treasuries for Bitcoin, for gold. And now we have the finance minister of Kyrgyzstan just said he will also introduce a bill to establish a national Bitcoin reserve for Kyrgyzstan. The dominoes keep falling and falling. And how about that flag? I don't know what this is. It's like I don't want to be disrespectful, but it's giving me cult vibes, like Eastern religion vibes.
Yeah, like we're all the sun or something like that.
Yeah, we're aliens. Aliens are going to come and do something or other. I don't know what the aliens are going to do. Tell us the future. Who knows? Now,
yeah.
Man, the hype news, man. So you saw hype. We talked a lot about it yesterday.
Yeah, I wish I was on yesterday because I had stuff to say about hype.
It's continuing.
Oh yeah,
they're still not stopping. We're
good.
Gonna talk about Ethena in a little bit, but yeah, now they're copying Eminem memes here. Dear Jeff, that's the head of hype there. I wrote you, but you still ain't calling. I sent 2 USDH proposals back in autumn. You must not have got them. There's probably a problem at the Discord or something. So good, so good. I scribbled the deployer addresses too sloppy when I jot them. So we got Ethena.
I love that.
That's probably the best one. I'll say that is the best one I've seen. That's not it, though. We also have this one right here, Van Eck.
Yeah.
Dear Hyperliquid, I love this analysis, TJ. And then it's going to kind of lead us to the third player in this drama, in this saga here. Bro, not going to lie, this is pretty crazy. Hype has grown men writing public love letters to the protocol so that they may be picked as a partner. This is now basically The Bachelor, but for stablecoins.
Yeah.
Who will get the last rose? Have you seen the latest stablecoin issuer?
The latest one?
USD1.
Oh,
Trump.
Okay.
Trump posted this.
Trump did?
No.
Oh.
But he might have that last rose, TJ. He might have the last rose. I wouldn't be surprised to see Trump also throw his name in the mix there because we're talking about stablecoin providers trying to work with the hype ecosystem.
Mm-hmm. And so Paxos is one of them. Algora. There's many others like you just mentioned. Everybody wants a piece of that revenue.
Everybody's USDC, the biggest one so far.
Circle, obviously. Everybody wants a piece. Everybody's saying they're going to buy back into the ecosystem. They're saying they're going to deploy the trust. Sky. We've had Rune on from Sky previously, Maker DAO. We interviewed him earlier this year. I saw his post on it, and they've got a proposal in. That, to me, I like Sky. What part of what is cool about Hype is it did, no VCs, community based, give a lot back to the community. Sky, in my opinion, Maker DAO, one of the first original DAOs, kind of captures the ethos of crypto. Now, I'm sure there's other factors that come into it, but when you're talking about a decentralized protocol that wants to be able to operate no matter what, I like having a DAO, somebody like Sky providing the stablecoin versus somebody like USDC Circle. That's just my opinion. Obviously, I'm more aligned with decentralization. It's for the business model, but I think it'd be really cool if we see Sky win that bid. But all of them are talking about buying heavy Skies. Like, we have a multi-billion-dollar balance sheet that we could allocate towards the Hype ecosystem, which this is why Hype is up today. When people were talking about altcoins you would buy in rate cut season, it might feel like Hype is overvalued right now. There's a lot of talk about that on X because it's just been grinding and grinding, climbing and climbing and climbing. I think it's pretty close to flipping Chainlink, I think, as far as market cap goes. That being said, the way the protocol is designed to be a more or less liquidity exchange that people can build on is pretty cool. And so if you like Hype, if you like on-chain trading, Hype is one I would keep my eye on. There's a lot. It's generating a lot of revenue, and revenue-generating chains is going to matter more and more. See this super chat here. Let's see. Set up my Arculus yesterday trying to scan the card. Had my palms sweaty, knees weak, arms heavy. That's funny. That's a good one. Yeah, I'm glad you got your Arculus card. If you guys don't use Arculus, there was that scare yesterday for people that aren't using on-chain or aren't using hardware wallets. Obviously, a MetaMask came out. A lot of other ones came out. Using a hardware wallet is the best way to know you're secure. We do get a 20% discount if you use code DC20. So check this out.
We just wanted to take a quick second to shout out our sponsor, Arculus. They are a cold storage hardware wallet, helps you secure all of your digital assets for the future. Just tap this thing to the back of your phone and boom, you're in. We wouldn't be able to do this without them, but also wouldn't be able to do this without you guys, the Disco fam. You've supported us a lot over the years. If you want to support the channel now, just use the code DC20. It gets you 20% off this card. It's the #1 way you can support this channel going forward. Thank you for your support. We'll see you at the top.
All right. Well, TJ, I might have the next level for Hype, by the way.
All right. Nice. Link is in the description, by the way. But yeah, let us know what you got.
Now, I want to give his flowers here. This is Ivan on Tech. Ivan on Tech pointed this out. He pulled out a quick Fibonacci. So this is looking at June. This is going from the swing high to the swing low. Maybe I'm off by a penny or whatever, but you can see it was kind of following this. Okay, boom, bounce off that 382 beautifully, beautifully. So the next stop after a swing high is going to be the 1618. And if you look, boom, right there, literally rejected off of it. Like Shaquille O'Neal and Hakeem Olajuwon are coming in for a double block there. So I would say, once it's probably going to consolidate around this range. Potentially it's going to pull back there. I think there might be enough gas in this tank, though, to take it to the next level. And because this is crypto, TJ, I don't make the rules. But it's going to be $69. 69 might be the next stop.
That makes a lot. Hey, that works. That's a very crypto number. And if the chart says that, that's Confluence. I think, like I said, Hype is an extremely strong project, has been for a long time. Seeing all of these stablecoin issuers clamoring to basically say we're going to use, I think 90% was the original. Some people saying 100% of the revenue, which that doesn't really make sense to me. I think I agreed. I think it was Agora that originally had the 90-10 split. I do think whoever's issuing it should have some skin in the game. I do agree with that thesis, but will be very interesting to see who they choose. The on-chain stablecoin wars that nobody knew were coming.
Yeah, there's so many. There's like 6-7 stablecoin issuers, all vying for this now. All right, let's talk about Nasdaq real quick. Nasdaq working with the Winklevi. Nasdaq to invest $50 million in Bitcoin and crypto exchange Gemini. This is major news, everybody. And so, kind of diving in what's going on. They have a new push. So they formed a strategic partnership with Gemini to gain access to custody and staking services. Major move right there. So they secured Nasdaq as a strategic investor as they're going towards their IPO. Essentially, it's probably a deal. So, hey, don't go to the New York Stock Exchange. Let us invest in your platform. Nasdaq saying this to Gemini, and now they're going to have the IPO on Nasdaq. Now, they're initially expecting to raise $317 million through their IPO, and Nasdaq has arranged a $50 million exposure to that. This is going to enable them to integrate their custody and staking. While it goes both ways, they're scratching their back. They're going to also get their back scratched. Institutional clients now have access to Nasdaq's Calypso platform to manage and track their trading collateral. Now, this came shortly after Nasdaq announced a major move into tokenized securities or blockchain-based versions of traditional stocks on Monday. So we're seeing the digitization of the stock market, and we're not only that, we're seeing the crypto enabling that's happening within this, and it's all fusing But I do want to throw something out. I'm tired of people saying crypto is going to take stock market from 9 to 5 to 24/7, 9 to 5 to 24/7. It's wholly inaccurate. It's very, very inaccurate. And Chainlink, people also say Chainlink's going to be, it's going to be powered by Chainlink. It's going to be 24/7. Everything's going to be 24/7. But if you actually look into the details, it's actually not 9 to 5. It's 9:30 to 4. But we're not trying to go from 9:30 to 4. There's also already extended those hours. I did a little research. It actually trades 4 a.m. to 8 p.m. So we're not going 9 to 5 to 24/7, but we're going 4 a.m. to 8 p.m. to 24/7. And that is going to be pretty significant. Also, the Saturday and the Sunday. But it always bothers me to be like, oh, the stock market's only 9 to 5. But like, have you seen pre-market activity? BlackRock isn't only trading 9 to 5. So stop saying it's 9 to 5. But this is all very, very bullish still.
It is still very antiquated systems, though. And this it is progressing towards 24/7. You're right. There's definitely overnight and futures and pre-market and all that sort of stuff. But the way I look at it, and this is kind of the thing that clicked in my mind years ago with crypto, is it's going to speed up the world by 3 to 5 business days, almost. Like if you consider cross-border transfer, like if you're trying to wire $100 million from one country to another country, that's going to take a long time. So there's all sorts of transactions that are going to happen close to instantaneously and around the clock versus having to work on normal banking hours. Yes, you can use Polymarket in the US. CFTC came out with clarity on that last week. So.
All right. And someone say, we're just talking about the coins we want to promo and pump. No, we're bringing you the news. And
we're covering. Yeah.
I have some altcoin exposure, but not every altcoin that we're talking about here, obviously.
If you have good promo deals of those coins that they're willing to pay, send them our way. But we don't.
Hype. I'll do a deal. I'll do a sponsored video. I'm talking Bitcoin. Who's the Bitcoin CEO?
Satoshi, come on, send us some sats. Come on,
Satoshi, come on, DM me. All right, let's talk about Chainlink. Oh no, I hold Chainlink. I guess I can never talk about it, but I guess this is major news, so we'll do it anyway. Citibank themselves literally shilling link. They're shillinking. And if you don't have enough time, you don't have enough time left to buy more. It is running out. You're running out of time to buy the sub $25 Chainlink. That's my opinion. We are going to scale into a new trade. I did hear one of the entries trigger. They have registered. So we closed that Chainlink long in profit with this recent market dip. We're scaling back into a long. We do have an L Bank link down below. But Chainlink is making a lot of moves here. And to me, Chainlink is one of the exceptions to Crypto Face's rule. Shout out to Crypto Face. Shout out to Market Cypher, A and B. I like B more. Altcoin season is here. Sell the old, buy the new. And now we're going to talk about altcoins. So we're pulling up the altcoin chart, or all the coins here. Old coins, TJ, I'm going to just start with 2. Yeah, I know. I'm not going to say Cardano. Don't panic. I'm still bullish. But old coins, I think Solana still has a lot of gas in that tank. And I think Link, 2 old coins, I wouldn't want to get rid of today. What are your 2 old coins that you would say, these are still good projects?
Yeah, that's the big question is what's considered old in crypto. Like you said, like Solana,
Someone said near. I'm like,
Solana feels newer to me. It's not as old as Cardano. Exactly.
I would say 2020 before. How about that?
Before 2020 is
2020 and before
is old. Yeah. So
because that gives you, in a sense, 2 cycles. So you could say you're semi-mature.
Like one that I thought, like I mentioned XLM earlier, I think that's an interesting older project. So in some ways, some of these dino coins, as they call them, I think have some more regulatory clarity because of time on market, decentralization, that sort of stuff. So I do think there's some regulatory advantage, but I do.
AVAX.
Yeah, Avalanche is one that's in such a weird category for me. But when he's talking about the new, I do have some theories on what the new, and I get what he's saying is you want to be in the hot trend, and something I've talked about on this channel a lot. You want to be in the meta when things are running, which is why I like to watch on pump days. You go look at something that's moving. Pump, for example, that would be one of the new projects. I'm not a big meme coin person, or I'm not a meme coin person at all. But if you are a believer in meme coins and creator capital markets and that whole thing, Pump is the way you get exposure to all of it. I don't hate anybody holding Pump. I do think that's they have revenue. So to me, I'm looking at revenue-based projects.
VeChain, I don't want to give any bearish advice on VeChain until they have that crypto octagon extravaganza,
Yeah.
4th of July. I mean, I don't know, because crypto.com, I'm sorry, but VeChain is a title sponsor of the UFC. If VeChain's on the White House lawn and an octagon logo, I mean, that seems pretty bullish to me in a weird way. It's going to be like retail boomer coins, just going to buy that like bananas.
Would you consider Aave old? Because that one's been around.
I would. I want to say it's 2018. Let's see.
To me, it's almost interesting. A lot of the old coins, Sky was one we were talking about earlier in the show. MakerDAO, that's been just slowly up into the right, basically its entire existence. A lot of these older projects that are legitimate and have revenue are actually really starting to hit their stride. So I don't necessarily out with the old, like if you're bag holding, if you've been holding, like, so the perfect example of one old one I sold was Cosmos Atom, which again, that was more 2020-ish, but I dumped that one because I don't see it really doing anything. And Morpho, a lot of the stuff in the base ecosystem is what I'm excited about. You guys know I love Aerodrome and Morpho. Those are kind of my base ecosystem plays. But I mean, ETH is an old one. I like a lot of the top 20 coins, I think have strong fundamentals and strong revenue. So,
all right, well, let's do the other half of this equation. So, we talked about some old ones there. So you just kind of gave some of the new ones. I'm going to go ahead and give some of mine. I think Ethena is going to be one of those new ones, and Hype, obviously. I mean, I know I'm coming in late, like, oh, Hype's going to be bullish, but we have been talking about it for a while, and you keep scrolling. I mean, yeah, to me, that is going to be one of the major movers. I heard Ivan's turning bullish on Fartcoin again. I could see that being one of the new memes that people are turning bullish. I will say, I am more bullish on Fartcoin relative to Shiba Inu, and probably upside potential relative to Dogecoin. Does look like, a little bit of a rounded bottom. I mean, this is a meme coin, so it could easily do another leg down. What are your thoughts on meme coins specifically? Like old, I think Doge is still going to do well. New, yeah. I'm a fart guy.
I do think, I mean, Fartcoin is the biggest winner out of the pump ecosystem, and you guys have to remember they can pump that at any time. They've got tons of cash, so if they want free marketing, they can pump that chart up and make a lot of people get noisy. So I still like pump the pump.fund, the pump token over any specific coin, just because I think it's slow and steady. Virtuals is another one. I see Edwin in here talking about one. Virtuals. If you want to look at AI coins that ran in, what was it, the December run up, or maybe, or even as far back as February 2023 in that AI pump, they're starting to rotate back into those, but Virtuals is one of those that got attention back then. Wouldn't surprise me to see it pump again. It's up 22% or 21% for the week. But a lot of the stuff I'm into, obviously, I'm heavy DeFi. I think there's this, and this is sometimes what makes crypto challenging is we just rattle off like 10 things, and I can probably give you 10 more just in the DeFi niche. Frax, Pendle, Curve, maybe not Compound, but Curve, Frax, Pendle, a lot of those performing extremely well. Also, Black Hole, you guys know we like. If Avalanche runs, I think Black Hole will print. You've probably got a pretty good entry on that right now. We've been just running compounding pools on those. I've got a compounding pool running on World LibertyFi. So for me, just accumulating and stacking those in ways that you can build money slowly over time, or build tokens over time, and then exit here later this year back into Bitcoin is the plan. There's a lot out there. I would recommend creating niches. Get in our Discord. We talk about it a lot. I'll get on and I've got a member portfolio reviews tomorrow afternoon. So I'll do that with any of our members in there. The link is in the description. The trading group is free. If you want the portfolio reviews, there's a paid section, so you can hop in there. I recommend picking a niche, or at least creating a strategy for a portfolio. Like if you want to have an AI portfolio, if you want to have a blended portfolio, if you want to have a major portfolio, you can kind of create a lot of different strategies with different risk profiles. A lot of people, I think you should, if you have a substantial amount of money and money that you want to hold on to long-term, put it in some of the majors. I think it's pretty easy if you stay in the top 20 or 30 to get a conservative, 4 to 8x, in a short period of time. But then you can obviously get a lot more the more you risk. So there's a lot of
all right. And there's someone in the chat saying, hey, you're forgetting a new coin, World LibertyFi. Oh,
yeah,
man. Trump's
I almost
trying.
mentioned it. Yeah. I think it'll be around. I don't hate it. I think again, I'm running a pool on that. I think it's going to be here for the long haul. I do think this entire space is maturing into being just finance. And I do think we're going to see less impact from the halvings as time goes on, more impact from just global economic liquidity cycles. And I think that's what we're experiencing right now.
All right. Well, I'm experiencing some more bullishness on Ethena here. This is from Ethena Labs. We're excited to announce our most important integrations to date. They partnered with Binance to embed their stablecoin across its entire platform. And so this is going to have reward-bearing collateral, direct integration with Binance Earn, and some spot pairs. More to come in the following weeks. So the spot pairs is going to be huge, and the integrations with Binance Earn is going to also be huge. And Arthur Hayes is super bullish on Ethena. Arthur Hayes called the hype pump. I read his analysis on it. It was a lot longer than I was expecting. Made a whole lot of sense. He's, kind of relying heavily on, I won't say some moon math there, but, there's a little moon math on his hype breakdown, his hype thesis. But now he's also just full porting into Ethena. And so this is one of the reasons why we're super bullish on this token. And you can see here, it's, has some buyback hopes as well. And so this is the biggest move it had since late January, as they're activating a fee switch. This is actually the real reason. This fee switch is going to enable them to share the revenue to the token holders. And so Binance is signing a big deal with them, and listing the token on the top exchanges is a key requirement for the fee switch mechanism. And now they can share these profits with the Ethena token holders. How much profits? Well, they made 50 million last month, and $500 million since its launch in late 2023. And so now that this switch has been activated, basically the profits can trickle down into the holders. And so now more and more people are trying to hold this token. I would not be fading Ethena. And so people are asking about your Ethena. How are you feeling about your Ethena bag, TJ?
I like it. I mean, I've talked about this a long time ago as being, but when it had way less market cap and way less adoption, it was basically the institutional wrapper for stablecoins, and they have been a major issuer of stablecoins, which produces an insane amount of revenue. Again, revenue-based projects, I think, are the ones that are going to perform well going on into this cycle. Like, it doesn't sound crazy. That's not a crazy hot take there to say, hey, companies that make money probably do better than things that are just based completely on marketing. I think most of this space up until recently, up until maybe 2022 even, was built mostly on hype and marketing and announcements of announcements. And, oh, this thing will change the world in the future. Now it's a big money, serious money, professional money is here, and they want to know who's making money right now. That's where I want to pile in, and then we'll double down and invest on that and continue to grow. I think that's the part of that's the cycle, or that's the point that the industry has made it to now. And yeah, I do like Ethena. I got some a long time ago. Didn't buy much. I bought a decent amount. Well, I think I bought like 5 to 10K when it was down. Should have bought a lot more, but hey, I'm up good. I'm happy with it.
All right, we got people saying IP, check out IP. All right, well, we do have some breaking news on IP, so I'll go ahead and show it here. I was looking for the comment, but I guess I lost it. It's already popped up there. But IP, yeah, doing insane numbers right now. It's up a bunch over the 24 hours. It is up 34%. You can see just flat. Breaking news. 7-day. Super flat. Breaking news. This is the breaking news. Looks like IP strategy. There's now a publicly listed treasury vehicle centered around Story Protocol's IP token. This is going to be Cask is the ticker on Nasdaq. Heritage Distillings is going to be the first regulated path for public market investors to participate. And I always hate this. I always mention it. It's an $80 trillion field. It's not. You talk about your own numbers. Don't talk about the field's numbers. And if we just get a small sliver, sure, okay, whatever. It's a little. I don't know, suspicious. Tackles.
Total addressable market. Yeah, that's always an easy way to make up big numbers. And then it's like, yeah, but you may or may not get any position of that. And yeah, it's a very interesting. That's one I've sat out on IP story. It could potentially that's one of those hype projects. Like if they're selling a dream and they're selling a vision, to me, I'm looking again at DeFi. I like Aave. I like Chainlink. I like Arrow. I like things that have a clear fee generating revenue model.
All right. Now, Solana, TJ, should we do the good news or the bad news first? Maybe
Just give me a
chat.
double dose of good news. Come on, it's all Solana these
Two
days.
good news stories?
Two good. I think it's
All right.
Solana feels
I can do
bullish
two
right
good,
now.
one bad. How about
Okay,
that?
give me
All
that,
right.
yeah.
I'll do two good and I'll do one bad.
Give me a
here. All right.
sandwich. Good, bad, good.
Oh, you want to do the
Yeah.
sandwich? We'll do the sandwich here. All right. So first good, then bad, then good again. And speaking of bad, that was working earlier. Damn it, it was working earlier. All right, Solana. Start with the good. Hey, big shout out to Crow, everybody. All right. You want to get down on some TCGs? We can get down on some TCGs, Crow. Trading card games for the non-nerds. Solana, this is the good news, has generated 1.25 billion in revenue year to date. More than Ethereum, 2.5x more than Ethereum. Real demand for block space right now. No chain is even close. This is from Milky Road Daily here. And you can see Hype also doing very well. And Tron, Asia loves Tron. A lot of payments in Tron. BNB, Bitcoin, Base, Arbitrum, Avalanche, Polygon, Optimism, Aptos. I think that's supposed to be Aptos there. So there you go. There's your revenue. So that's some good news for Solana. You ready for the bad news? And then we'll go good again, folks. We'll go good.
I think I know what the bad news is, but yeah, go ahead.
It's all fugazi.
Yeah.
It's all fake.
Yeah.
Fake volume. So 48 billion in fake volume, one wallet, one chain. It was actually a little bit worse than I originally suspected. 50 billion in trading volume in 48 hours. This was not adoption. It was wash trading. So they would borrow 10 million in USDC, then swap into Jupiter, then swap back, and then repeat it thousands of times. No profit, no liquidity, no demand, just fake numbers to make Solana look alive. Now, is wash trading innovation? No. It is illegal, though. The truth, every metric Solana brags about is fake. Transactions per second is failed spam. Volume, bots juicing, zero fee pools. I looked into this pool. This was a closed private pool with zero fees. So he was literally able to swap back again and again and again and again. And there's no slippage. There were no fees. It was his own protocol. It was his own live trading pair there. And then that ended up equating to $50 billion in volume for 2 days. That's not a good sign, TJ. That's not a good sign. But I've always said, you don't get into Solana. You get into Solana because it's retail friendly, because it's super easy to use, and it is fast, and they have a great wallet ecosystem. I don't know how many people are worried about the daily TPSs, 90% aren't real. No one even cares about that, unfortunately.
That's what I was going to say is we're getting to the point now. I do agree with that. I do agree there's a lot of that stuff is gamed and faked that can be done on many different chains. I do think it matters to a point that you have a high throughput and you can do fast transactions. Like you mentioned, they have to also be successful transactions. It's not helpful to do 100 fast transactions if 97 of them fail. So yeah, I mean, and it's the typical marketing from any other chain. I do think Solana leads, like you said, on design and ease of use. And I think that's a pretty good edge. They've also got some pretty big backers and a pretty good name and brand recognition. So I think they'll be all right. I do think Solana's poised for a run here very shortly as we get it. That would be one of the ones I think will perform extremely well in Q4 once we get into rate cuts. But it's a good reminder that most of these metrics that all of these people are coming out here touting, whether it's transactions or, a lot of different stuff, wallets, active users, all of these things can be gamed and spammed. And there's a lot of different ways you can achieve that number. The reality is when you get real users, does it work? Most of the time Solana does, but if they got a big launch, they did fairly well, I would say, with the Trump meme coin token launch, as far as how seamless it went. Now, a lot of people, there was demand and failed transactions there, but it did launch pretty well. So I think Solana, it's going to continue to perform well. No layer one is perfect, in my opinion. They all have trade-offs. Ethereum and Base, realistically, Base on Ethereum is one of my favorites. But there's many other ones. I know you love Cardano. I know there's a lot of Avalanche fans out there, Solana fans out there, many other ones. Everybody talking about Tempo, Stripes, layer one that they're building now. A lot of different ways to skin the cat. They all have trade-offs. Many will exist. I do think Solana is doing well as it comes to onboarding retail. And if they can continue doing that one factor can be enough to support their chain, in my opinion.
All right, DZ, when are you going to do your book on stuff that is a project on Cardano? The book is still coming. Don't you worry. The book is finished. I just got to do the formatting. I got to make some covers, and I got to talk to the team about a launch, and I'm integrating it into the DZ pool. Everybody, TJ, we just had someone drop $500,000 Cardano. from the C node stake pool 40 minutes ago. So if you're watching, greatly appreciate it. So we're going to have midnight testnet very, very soon. You will be able to earn Cardano and the Night token and get a free book. It's going to be claimable, so I guess 5 cents or 10 cents or whatever, but a free book, essentially, if you stake to the DZ stake pool. I have the only DZ name out there, so go check that out. All right, now, we do have some good news for Solana still.
Okay, yeah, give me the other good story. Yeah.
How about a $300 Solana V-shaped recovery, everybody? I'm not going to get into the whole weeds here because we're just going to go straight to the chart. It's this chart right here. It is a log chart. And it's looking at this. This is looking pretty bullish, folks. So we got ourselves a nice little, we could follow that trend line. That's going to be 340, or we just come down to where we were prior. That's going to be a $294 Solana. The V-shaped recovery looking very, very good. But go watch the video from 2 days ago if you want to see. No, I'm sorry, last night, where I talk about this potential megaphone pattern potentially playing out where. All right, next step after that, probably going to get rejected, probably bounces down. But I think this is going to be the next area to pay attention to. If we go to the regular chart, it's actually even more bullish in a weird way because the price action's gone down. So we're looking at $374, $375 Solana. And I still think it's going to go to 420. And if I did the math, I think the tail end of the year. So if this happens, you can see maybe on the bottom, December 31st, right there at 400. So 397. So a lot of signs point to a $400 Solana. And then we're just a stone's throw away from 420. Meme number. Solana loves the meme numbers. I'm not kidding. Look at its price action at $69. I wish I was kidding. I'm not. So Solana probably going to replicate some of those moves. But TJ, I wanted to share this. We have updated thread from Kobayashi. This is only about 15 minutes ago. This is kind of just diving into that jobs report. We talked about the 911 emergency, but not for you, for the U.S. economy. 911,000 jobs revised out of the previous numbers, 10 months under Biden, 2 months under Trump, officially above the 09 levels. Jobs data overstated $76,000 per month. And so here's where we're seeing the large revisions. Leisure hospitality. It's 176,000 less jobs than initially thought. And then 250,000 less in trade, transportation, and utilities. Total private hiring overstated by almost 1 million jobs. Largest revision in history, even above the 2009 levels. They did 902 then versus the 911 today. And we're now seeing revisions that are larger than the largest financial crisis outside of the U.S. Great Depression. They revised 250 out of just June and May. And another factor, June fell by 27,000. This would be the largest negative 2-month net revision in U.S. history outside of 2020. And goes into a lot more of the specific industries, talks about gold a little bit, but essentially all the data was fake. And don't think just because they put the data on the blockchain, it's going to be accurate.
Yeah, right.
It's still like, oh, it's on Chainlink. So the job number is real because it's powered by a Chainlink Oracle. The Oracle is still fed data.
Yeah,
and it can still be fed mountains of species. And that's what's going to happen.
Still going to have to use ADP, farm roll data. That stuff is still, that's what these people use. So the processes that they collect all this stuff in and the way they distribute it, the time they distribute it, it's not lost on me that they did the first major revision the day after the Fed made their decision, so the timing of a lot of this stuff isn't an accident. The movements, the global movements, whether they're military positioning or economic positioning. If you guys don't think we've been in
surrounding Venezuela.
Yeah, a global battle. Yeah, and what's been going on in Venezuela? What's been going on in El Salvador?
They don't like the dollar.
Yeah, exactly. And neither, people are getting out of treasuries, so it's all about the debt cycle. We've been in an economic war with the East for many years now. We are slowly winning that war, and that's why it's heating up and heating up. It seems like, they said yesterday we've got full Europe support now to end this war in Ukraine very fast. So tensions are not, they're going up, not down.
It is a bad time for Ukrainians, man. Yeah. Whether you're on a bus, you're over there.
Sad. It's bad. It's sad to think that type of violence is here in the U.S. now, where you have to even be worried about that kind of stuff. But that's a whole a whole other thing for a whole other show. Maybe we'll let Drew talk about that.
It's behind the scenes Twitter Spaces right there. All right, let's
Yeah.
talk about ETH, man. Normally we talk about ETH earlier in the show. There's just so much exciting stuff. We want to talk about the new altcoins, the old altcoins. We want to talk about Hype as well, and Ethena, of course. But ETH is still making some major moves. So SharpLink, this is the one this backed by the co-founder of Ethereum, Joe Lubin, there with the Aztec calendar T-shirt. That's some of my lineage there, TJ. I got some South. I say Mexican, but really it's like people that got slaughtered by the Aztecs, I think, or assimilated. Depending on how you look at it. I'm probably all conquistador.
Hey,
at this
you
point,
made
if
it
we're
here,
gonna be honest.
so yeah, you got here somehow. So somebody assimilated.
Yeah, but they didn't
somewhere.
chop my ancestors' head down the top of that temple and have it roll down for Can we get rain tomorrow? Off with their head. Anyways, let's talk about SharpLink here. We're getting distracted. SharpLink Gaming buying back 15 million in undervalued shares, literally undervalued. Now, Joe Lubin said it bought back 15 million, noting that the market cap of the company is below how much ETH they hold on their balance sheet. And if you look at the numbers, they have $3.6 billion worth of ETH, and the stock was only trading at 87% of its net asset value. So if they had $1 billion, that means the company is only worth 870 million, according to the SharpLink dashboard. And so now we're seeing, some big money start to pour into that. Let me tell you why you might see something under negative MNAV. There is going to be operating expenses, and there's quite possibly $100 million in losses every quarter. And so some of these things will be priced in. They might have a balance sheet of cash and ETH, but then you fast forward 3 months and the cash balance has decreased 220 million. And so some of these things are going to be priced in. But either way, you're buying ETH 87 cents on the dollar with your SharpLink stock there. So very, very bullish there. DZ's a conquistador like the rest of us. Don't let those boys south at the border fool you. Now, I'd be at the border. I'd be flying the drone, man. Now, I'd be on hey, look, folks, still America first here.
That's right.
Sorry, ancestors. Is where I was birthed. All right, let's speaking of ETH here, there's that massive attack. It affected ETH, it affected Solana. Saw a lot of emergency clickbait. I saw a lot of people kind of panicking about this. And so it was a phishing attack, compromised a JavaScript developer, led to the insertion of some malicious code into some packages. So it's like, hey, you're building a website, download my package of here's how the buttons interact with other things. Security teams face significant costs to update systems, despite the attacker only getting a little bit. Now, the attack exploited NPM packages. It redirected transactions. Basically, it kind of changes the address real quick into something real similar. Though the financial impact was negligible, we have the number. Looks like it was basically nothing. They're trying to get everything into this single ETH wallet. And if you look, it had 5 cents of ETH, $20 of an illiquid meme coin that had less than $600 in volume, according to the Security Alliance report. So MetaMask was, on X. Ledger CTO, he kind of started the panic at the disco.
He was the one he was the one who started it all. It feels like it was a lot of most of the people had already prepared for it, or was we were worried. Obviously, we do a lot of on-chain transactions. MetaMask came out pretty fast, said there was no vulnerabilities. Arrow came out pretty fast, said there were no vulnerabilities. But it doesn't bode well. I don't like the fear I don't know what the purpose of that was. If it was intentional fear mongering, if he really thought a lot of stuff was at risk.
It made it seem like ledgers were bad.
Exactly. It made me not want to hold a ledger. That's for
worst
sure.
advertisement ever.
Yes. And that's why I felt very comfortable on an Arculus wallet. We ran the ad already, so I won't run it again. But if you guys aren't on a hardware wallet, it's the easiest way to protect yourself. The Ledger Arculus card works extremely easy. Highly recommend it. I love them. We've got plenty of them, and they work well. So, yeah.
All right. Quick shout out to everyone from the Yori pool to
nice.
the DZ pool. So, hey, I appreciate you guys are really helping it out, and can't wait to give you guys that book. All right. Now, free money. We all love free money. Again, I'm not going to get into it, but OpenSea teasing their airdrop. Finally, maybe it's going to be claimable. It's the C token, C coin, with the final phase of rewards amid the app launch. So further details will be released in October. We'll be covering this as the details come out. Originally announced this 12 months ago. C token. This is all going to boil down to no one's trading NFTs today. Are they going to reward the 2021-22 class, or are they going to reward people that have been trading for the last 12 months? No matter what they do, someone will be pissed off.
Yeah.
I think that's going to be the two roads that they're going to have to try to navigate. They're probably going to try to hedge it and do something maybe up the middle, and then everybody's going to be pissed off. So that's actually my prediction. Everyone will hate it. Everyone will dump it, and they'll do everything they can in their power along with Gary V to say NFTs aren't dead. Can we call it Mr. Beast? Can we call it FaZe Banks? Can we call up iShow Speed? Can we give them a pudgy penguin? Can we do something? What do you think this airdrop's going to equate to? I mean, is this going to create a renaissance of NFT trading?
No.
Or is the flex of the PFP over?
It's going to be, I don't know if the flex of the PFP is over. That might have different rises and falls with culture, but I think whatever OpenSea's reign is over, and I think it's too little too late. No matter what they do, people aren't going to, like, even if they airdrop everybody, it's going to be, the amount's going to be too small. People aren't going to love it. They had a huge first mover advantage, and I think they've completely wasted it at this point. They can recover. They still have a big brand, but I'm not real bullish on most of what OpenSea's doing at this point.
All right. Well, folks, that is our show for today. We're going to work on some interesting stuff with some altcoins. We've got to point out some of these insane things that have been happening. Maybe I don't think I'm going to talk about WorldCoin just because it's Sam Altman, but those cup and handles were very, very bullish to me. So maybe that's worth exploring. You know, that others chart that TJ was alluding to.
Maybe mention it.
Some major movement.
Maybe look at that, and then just some kind of like AI coins in general, because WorldCoin kind of because of Sam Altman fits into that AI. Area.
The other AI coins with it, huh?
Yeah. So that might be interesting to look at.
The AI coins that will pump after WorldCoin. I might like that one. Not the trips there, but
yeah, let us know in the comments as we wrap up. Let us know what your favorite AI coins are, or altcoins you're holding for rate cuts. We will be back. I saw Kelly in the chat. He's live on BitLab. We'll be back later this afternoon. We do have Drew at 1 and Kelly at 4. So never ending content for you guys. And yeah, we'll see you at the top.
All right. Smash that like button.